Welcome to Shin Culture. I'm your host, Jared. Title card. How's it going out there? Anyway, so we're back at it again to watch me explain anime off the top of my head, and it's going to be very bad. I'd like for you to like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Twitter, all that cool stuff if you would like. Alright, so if you don't know how this works, I have my Nezuko popcorn box right here, and I'm going to draw some titles out of it, and then I'm going to try to explain them off the top of my head. We may do 1, we may do 2, we may do 3, we may do 50. Alright, let's give it a little shake, mix up, and let's get another one out of here. Alright, so we've got Fully Cooley. Alright, so Fully Cooley is a 6-part OVA that came out early 2000s-ish. It was really popular on Adult Swim forever because they repeated it every month and a half basically for years. The story itself isn't like super complex or anything. Now there's a lot of complex stuff that goes into it, like the themes and stuff, because it's really about coming of age, like puberty, and all the other crazy stuff Gainax like to put in everything that they did back in the day post Evangelion.
Greatest anime ever.
Anyway, so it's really Naruto, main character, gets hit by the secondary main character, if you want to wait, or more of like a force of nature, Haruko, who basically opens a portal in his head that allows these mechs to come out, and she ends up fighting them, and her ultimate goal is to free Animus, who's kind of imprisoned by the people who keep making the mechs, because she's got the hots for him. There's a lot of weird, oddball, slapstick, crazy, like, gags, and the show itself isn't very sensical. I mean, it has a whole thing where they bust out into manga panels. They do a lot of references to other anime and stuff because Gainax, and they're just kind of going to town. But ultimately, you know, they kind of have a fight. Everything's resolved. There's not a whole lot more to it because it's really kind of hard to explain. It's something that's very visual that you really need to see. I mean, the soundtrack's amazing. The pillows, great. There is a manga adaptation which is quite a bit different. I read it like years and years ago. I don't think it's as well received. It was alright. Do check out the anime. I know they've done a couple sequels that have not been as good, realistically. Definitely check it out if you haven't, which I don't know if there's anybody who hasn't out there. Alright, let's get to... I got one. Alright, here we go. What do we got? Something cool. Hopefully something I know or remember. Alright, we got Attack on Titan Season 1. Attack on Titan revolves around the main character named Eren Yeager. You may have heard of him. And his buddy, Armin, and other buddy, Mikasa, who actually lives with him and totally has a hot for him, but that's a whole other thing. So they live in this world that's basically walled off. Like the whole kingdom is surrounded by 3 giant walls. But they're walled off because there are these giant creatures called Titans that live in their life. He's talking to his dad, and his dad's like, hey, I gotta go do this thing, but when we get back, I'm gonna show you the basement. He shows him a key that will be important, like, way, way later. Anyway, his dad's off, they're doing their normal little daily life stuff, and just so happens a giant colossal titan, bigger than normal titans, bigger than the walls, shows up. Then the whole area gets rampaged by the other titans that have just kind of infiltrated in. Now, Eren and all them, they're pretty young and they're trying to escape. Eren's mom eventually gets eaten by a titan, and this basically puts into his brain, he's like, I'm just gonna kind of kill all the titans because I want revenge for them ruining my life, essentially. A little bit of time passes. Of course, they join. Basically, they join the military. Yeah, I think they're just called the military. We can just go with that. They go through all their training and all the stuff. Their stuff. You meet a bunch of other people. You meet like Sasha. You meet Annie. They go through all their training. Of course, there's some trials and tribulations to go with that. And eventually, they join. Mostly, the people you meet join the Scouts, which are kind of the ones that get sent out to take care of the Titans and try to reclaim land and see what's going on outside the walls. But of course, the third wall's been breached, so it's kind of shrank down, and now they're all living within the first two walls. So stuff's gotten a lot more cramped. That goes on. You have some other little skirmishes. They go out on their first mission. Wait, I totally forgot. All right, so they go through. They're now Scouts, or they've graduated their basic training, military training stuff. And like the day of the ceremony, they get attacked by the Colossal Titan again. Now he kind of shows up and then disappears. It's part of it. But again, overran by Titans this area. Things are going crazy. The regular military and all that are trying to help, but then they're like, hey, y'all need to do this. They're trying to, since they're part of the military, they're trying to save people, do all this stuff, but they're also brand new recruits. And along this process, Eren gets eaten by another Titan. And you kind of think he's dead. I mean, it kind of leads to believe it, but, he is also the main character, which would be a little weird if he died and wasn't in the rest of it. But not surprising. Anyway, some stuff goes on. Things are looking really, really bad for the Scouts and everything, and the people in this specific area. And then around that time, a new Titan kind of shows up that oddly looks like Eren, just a little bit, with a Joker face. And he's attacking the other Titans. And I believe it's Mikasa who's like, oh, that's Eren. Maybe? And then through the course of that Titan ends up ultimately saving the day. Turns out, yes, it was Eren. And somehow he gained the ability to turn into a Titan. But he's not necessarily mindless. He knows what he's doing, and he can kind of... And he's still trying to attack. But he knows what he's doing, so he's basically attacking the Titans, trying to save the day, and they end up winning. Now, they also try to keep this on the down low because it could freak out people. He wakes up imprisoned, and they kind of want to experiment on him, and then there's this whole other little court trial thing, and that's whenever you kind of meet like Levi. You see him before, but this is where you first like really get to see him act. And basically, he does this whole thing of like, hey, join my crew or die. And if you try to do anything, I'll kill you because I'm literally the best at killing Titans that has ever existed. They do that, then they kind of all go out on their actual first mission. Most of the other people join the Scouts because Eren lit a fire in them. Now, they don't necessarily know Eren can turn into a Titan. Like I said, it's kind of kept on the down low. But at the same time, there is a group that does, and they're trying to be iffy on some stuff. They think some other things are going on. While they're out, they get attacked by another unique Titan that they call the female Titan because it appears female. And doesn't look like the other Titans, and is smarter. Is specifically attacking and using kind of strategy. And they're like, alright, well, we'll just do our normal type stuff and cut the nape of the neck, which is really one of the only ways they have to kill a Titan. When they go for that, they find out, she'll cover and can harden, so you can't really, actually cut her neck. So their ultimate mission kind of fails in a lot, but they're like, alright, so definitely something's going on. There's obviously other people who can turn into Titans, but I wonder who that one was. Now, I'm getting kind of foggy because it has been forever, but to not necessarily spoil who it is, they have this whole plan set up where they kind of think they know who it is. They do this whole elaborate little plan, and it's revealed who the female Titan is. Then it turns into kind of a giant fight. Eren and the female Titan have their like showdown inside the city, inside the wall. So naturally people are totally freaked out by it. Eren in his Titan mode eventually wins, and then the female Titan, instead of getting like really captured or whatever, ends up encasing herself in crystal, so they can't really interrogate her or get out any information from her, and she's also in a comatose state. And that's pretty much the first season. Now there's like a little tag spoiler thing at the end. It's kind of cool that goes in the second season, but that's really it. Personally, Attack on Titan's great. I watched it from the first time. I mean, when it initially started airing, watched every season. I've read all the manga. I have like the giant colossal versions of it. I recommend reading it. I recommend watching it. It's one of the best anime that's been made in the past. Well, I guess it would still count under a decade, but definitely it's definitely one of the best ones out there. Kind of, it's hurting from trying to think because it does that. Not the smartest person. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Twitter, all that fun stuff. Now, as for that like engagement thing, so in the comments, tell me what your favorite mech from Fully Cooley was, or your favorite Titan. Anyway, later.